Hi guys, it's Dr. Sarah Sue here. I was really wanting to get on today to make a video about connection at first. I was going in the direction of doing some education around it, talking about foundations of health, talking about the work I do with patients, and none of it really rang true for me, at least at this moment. And when I sat and reflected, I remembered a story. And so I'm on here today to share a story with you with the themes of connection. And under that theme of connection, self-care and ceremony, which honestly go hand in hand, literally and metaphorically. This comes from the vaults of motherhood from last week. And my almost 3-year-old son had just woke up from a nap. It was about 3:30, and I knew I was hungry. I wasn't sure about him. And I decided to go downstairs and put together a little snack spread for us. And I didn't grab the regular foods because that's not what I was in the mood for. We did graham crackers. We did dates, we did Brazil nuts, chocolate, bananas, and almond butter. And I made sure we both had full bottles of water because, almond and graham crackers, you're gonna need something to wash it down with. And we brought it upstairs. We have a special tray that my partner Blake made for tea time. And I put everything on there, and we were sitting in the room together and just eating and snacking and just doing some exchanges here or there. But both of our energy was pretty calm, and we were just nourishing ourselves. And at some point, my son goes, "Oh, Mama, it feels like we're having a ceremony right now." And I stopped, and I mopped myself up because I metaphorically melted at that moment. And I looked around and I was like, yeah, that's because we are having a ceremony. We're having a snack ceremony. I'm like, is there any other themes that you want to call in for this time right now? So he called in the theme of ice cream because that's one of his favorite foods. And I was thinking big at first, and I was like, no, ceremonies don't need to be big and complex all the time. They can be simple. And maybe that's the place to start with it. Just like with self-care, it doesn't have to be big and complex at times. Maybe it could just be simple. So I just simply called in the theme of family. That we were, and being grateful for our food. And I loved that he recognized in that moment that we were doing something intentional. We had taken steps to do it, and he really appreciated it and took notice of it. And it got me thinking about when the last time I felt like that, when I was doing something for myself, where I could stop and say, "Oh, Sarah Sue, this feels like ceremony right now." Have you guys ever felt that? When you were doing something to take care of yourself and it felt less like a chore and more like ceremony? I kind of think that latter one is the more sustainable, important one to be doing. Don't you think? Anyhow, thanks for hearing my story. And the last thing I want to just share is I am going to be teaching a class on connections, which is why I started making videos in the first place, was to just talk about this class that I have coming up with 21 Acres out of Woodinville, Washington. And it's the last of our series called Whole Being Health. And we are going to be doing this last class this coming Saturday, April 3rd. It will be recorded and available on the YouTube channel afterwards. But we're going to be talking about connections. and how having connections with ourselves and with our environment lead to healthier outcomes for all. And when we have disconnect from ourselves and from the environment, leads to the opposite, which is more illness and suffering and pathology and things like climate change and destruction of habitat and natural resources. Big topics, but actually really simple solutions that start with self-care, connections, and ceremony. Thanks for listening, guys.